You know that feeling of being completely drained after a long physical day? Sore muscles, heavy legs, your body just demanding rest. Now imagine feeling that same level of exhaustion without having moved an inch. That's not laziness. That's not weakness. That's what it feels like to live inside an overactive mind. And if that hits a little too close to home, this video is for you. Today we're going to break down three things. First, the mechanics of a mind that just won't switch off. Second, where that habit actually comes from. And third, what you realistically can do to start changing your relationship with it. Because the goal isn't to stop thinking, it's to stop being ruled by it. Let's get into it. There's a quote that perfectly captures what we're talking about here. And when you see it, I think it's just going to click. Because this isn't just a little bit of worry. This is like having a mental engine that is always on. It's running a marathon in your head every single day, even when you're just sitting quietly on your couch. And here's where it gets interesting. There's a central conflict that a lot of deeply thoughtful people carry with them every day. We can call it the overthinker's paradox. Think of it like a two-sided coin. On one side, the gift. The very same mental wiring that makes you deeply empathetic, sharply self-aware, and incredible at spotting patterns others miss. That's also what causes the burden, the emotional exhaustion, the decision paralysis, that constant low level of anxiety running in the background. Here's the key insight. It's not a flaw in your character. It's a feature, just one that comes with a serious cost. So let's get a little nerdy for a second. What is actually happening inside your brain to create this feeling? Psychologists have a term for this pattern. It's called maladaptive rumination. Now, that sounds complicated, but it's actually really simple once you break it down. The two key words are circling back and repeatedly. This isn't productive thinking that moves toward a solution. This is getting stuck, like a vinyl record skipping on the same groove, replaying the same worries over and over without ever getting to the end of the song. Here's why it happens, and this part is fascinating. You've basically got two key players in your brain running the show. Number one, the prefrontal cortex. Think of this as your brain's CEO, the planner, the analyzer, the one responsible for self-reflection. In overthinkers, this part of your brain is never really off the clock. It just keeps working and working and working. Number two, the default mode network, your brain's internal storyteller. This is the background narrator constantly generating that inner monologue, and it just keeps feeding new stories, new worries, new material to that already overworked CEO upstairs. Put those two together, and you get a mind that is never truly offline. It's auditing things you said yesterday, drafting emails you might send next week, analyzing the present moment instead of just living in it. But here's the question that changes everything. Why would our brains even do this? The answer might surprise you, because it's not a bug. It was actually a really clever survival strategy. For a lot of people, this habit didn't just appear in adulthood out of nowhere. It started much earlier, often in childhood, particularly in homes or environments that felt unpredictable, chaotic, or emotionally unsafe. Imagine being a kid in a situation like that. What does your brain do to protect you? It gets smart. It learns to survive. It starts trying to predict everything, to stay one step ahead. It replays conversations to decode what people really meant. It gets hyper-attuned to the moods of the adults around it. It analyzes every small mistake so it never happens again. Because staying one step ahead, that's how you feel in control. That's how you stay safe. And this right here is where the mindset shift happens. Overthinking isn't a sign that something is broken in you. It's proof of a highly intelligent nervous system that learned exactly how to protect you. It was an old strategy that once kept you safe. It's just that now, in a different life, it's become exhausting, which raises an obvious question. If it's draining us, why is it so hard to just stop? The answer comes down to what I'd call the illusion of progress. Here's the tricky part. When you're in a rumination spiral, your brain is buzzing with activity. It feels productive. It feels like you're working hard on a real problem. But in reality, you're just spinning your wheels. It's like flooring the gas pedal, but the car is stuck in neutral. A lot of noise, a lot of energy, and absolutely zero forward movement. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. There's actually a chemical reason we get trapped in this loop. It all comes down to dopamine. When your brain starts looping on a problem, it misinterprets that mental activity as problem solving. And for the effort, just for the act of thinking, it rewards you with a tiny hit of dopamine. Here's the kicker. Your brain gets rewarded for thinking, not for solving. So that little chemical kick just reinforces the cycle, making you want to keep thinking even when it's not helping at all. That's why willpower alone doesn't work. You're literally fighting your own reward system. So what do we actually do about it? If you can't just flip a switch and turn off your brain, what's the real answer? Here's the truth. The path forward isn't about stopping the thoughts. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with them. There's a powerful idea that comes from modern psychology, specifically from ACT therapy, and it's called cognitive diffusion. It sounds academic, but the concept is incredibly simple and, honestly, a game changer. Cognitive diffusion is the skill of learning to step back and watch your thoughts, to see them as temporary mental events, like clouds passing through the sky, instead of getting tangled up in them as if they're absolute facts. Here's the difference, and this is important. A fused thought sounds like, "This situation is a disaster. I have to fix this right now." You are the thought, and it pulls you straight into the vortex. A diffused thought sounds like, I'm noticing my brain is generating a worry thought. That tiny bit of distance, that fraction of space between you and the thought is everything. It gives you a choice. Instead of being swept away automatically, you get a moment to decide. At the end of the day, this isn't about going to war with your own mind. It's not about forcing it to be quiet or fighting every anxious thought that shows up. It's about gentle patience. It's about recognizing that your brain learned to stay on high alert for a very real, very valid reason. And now the work is slowly and compassionately teaching it that it's finally safe enough to rest. That's the real journey, not silencing the noise, changing your relationship with it. And that leaves us with one final question to sit with. What if real peace isn't about finding the perfect answer or solving every problem playing out in your head? What if it's found in simply changing the questions you ask yourself? Moving from, "How do I fix this?" to, "How do I be with this thought right now?" without letting it consume me. That's shift. That's where it starts. If this resonated with you, hit the like button. And if you want more of this, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.